Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. I am going to get some of my equipment put away for the winter, but before I do, rather than leave all this work for spring, I'm going to take a lot of the frames which were put inside hives last year but not fully built and make sure that they get a coating of wax, because the problem with using these next year is that very often what's happened is the bees have repurposed the wax coating on the plastic and put it into some building of comb, which then never got completed, and that leaves the plastic uncoated with wax. So I'm going to make sure that all the foundation that I have that I'm going to put into hives next year already has a good coating of wax on it, so that I'm not having unbuilt combs when I want them built most urgently for my nuke production. So what I'm going to be doing is taking some of the wax that I've been making from the wax melter here, and we've seen some of the wax I've been using, and I've got a little crock pot, and I'm using the bits of the wax, the dirty stuff in here, melting that down to this is going to be the first stuff I utilize. I'll need to use more of this, so I'm going to use some of the really clean stuff as well. But I'm going to put some of these bits of wax in here now, just to make sure that I've got plenty going, because I've got a lot of combs to recoat. Because right now my barn is filling up with supers of drawn comb and partially drawn comb and foundation that have been taken off the hive. The bees have cleaned up the supers, and I need to store them now. So there's going to be a couple of stages I'm going to do. I'm going to take the foundation and coat those with wax, but then I'm also going to take my combs and protect them from wax moths as well. But that's going to be in a separate video. So right now I'm going to get these combs coated with this foundation coated with wax. So I'm using a small, like 3-inch roller or so here, and I'm just going to give this foundation a coating. I can go a little bit over the comb itself, as they will repurpose all that stuff. So that's done there. Complete combs I will leave alone. Combs that have a little way to go, that need some work, they get some help here. Just plain foundation, that'll go one place. If there's some drawn comb, that can go in another. Just foundation. So the supers are finished. Supers can go behind me. Let's see what I've got here. Do a little bit of help. Look at this little wax moth, little bugger. Complete. So by going through all these frames, I'm going to save myself work next year. When I put them on the hives, I know that they're already ready to go, and I should have very little problem getting the comb drawn out and the bees to utilize them. Because first thing in the spring, what I want to be able to do is give those, I build a lot of nukes, so I've got to make sure I can give my nukes exactly what I think I'm giving them to help them build as quickly as possible. And I don't have time in the spring to do this sort of thing. Although sometimes you have to do it anyway. I can save myself a lot of time by taking care of it now before I put them away. So a lot of people don't realize that you can fix combs like this, because the problem is once the bees have taken the wax off the plastic foundation, they won't rebuild on it very well. Very rarely will they actually build on it if they've taken that wax off. So my rule of thumb is if my foundation has been in the hive for a season and comes out and is not being built, I recoat it with wax. That way I can be confident that they will build this comb next year. And the reason I've got some that haven't been built is it's basically because I put in a lot of foundation to get drawn out, and sometimes I do it and the honey flow stops and they end up not drawing out that comb. So that's why I end up with some foundation only partially built, and so it's going to happen every single year. So by doing this, we can be sure that we're going to have the combs built properly, rather than putting them back in again and have the same thing happen again. This time they don't build because there's no wax on the foundation. That's the beauty of the plastic foundation, is that you can make sure that you're not going to have a problem later on this way. Now I can see I'm going to definitely need some of that wax moth material. Already getting some wax moths in here. Wax moths, the first places the wax moths are going to attack is brood comb like this, used brood comb. But that's the next step. Watch the next video for that one. So coating these frames is hugely important. It's a great opportunity right now to get that sort of job done. Melting down used wax, that sort of thing. And then next year these combs will be good to go. So I certainly recommend that if you have combs that have not been used, fully drawn out, you melt a bit of beeswax, the stuff you've been saving through the year, rather than throwing it on the ground. Melt it down and give that foundation a little coating of wax, and next year those bees will build it up beautifully. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.